talk about pregame and game management. When you start the game, before you get to your shift, you want to make sure you know who your partner official is. Make sure you know their name so you're not yelling at each other, like just saying you or hey person, hey ref, you want to make sure you know each other. And then you're going to start a captain's meeting, which if you've officiated before, it's similar to our flag football, outdoor, soccer, and basketball captain's meetings. You're just going to get the captains, explain to them the rules, emphasize no jewelry. That is a big thing. They try to sneak it in. You cannot wear jewelry of any kind unless it's a medical bracelet. They do not get special permission to wear jewelry. No one can wear it. Then you're talking about sportsmanship and how it's important and what you guys give a sportsmanship rating at the end of each game. So just remind them that they need to be good sports to stay in the league. Then you're going to do the coin toss and you give up the options of if you want the ball, if you want to receive, and which side of the court you want. I like in my captain's meetings to talk about the out of bounds rules in indoor soccer because they can be confusing and people don't always know what they are. So just remind them about which teal line it is, if soft services are out, stuff like that. And as you go on, you can see what people find harder to follow, I guess, like obstruction and certain types of like gameplay. You can remind them like, hey, make sure like no two hands on the wall, don't push off the wall, stuff like that. And you're also gonna, in your pre-game and game management type during the game, you're gonna figure out how to handle people who don't really listen to you and are mean to you and whatever. So that's when you go through your quiet word, your public warning, eventually yellow card, red card, however intense it is, I guess. If the player's on the bench, you talk to the captain, you try to quiet them down. Give a card if you need to, get a supervisor if you need to. That's what we're here for. Do you have anything to add? I think that's
doing everything.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that. But
yeah, for the jewelry, you really won't see much of it. Most of it, we will try our best to catch when we sign them in, but we're not going to catch everything. Like if you see somebody even with like a wristband, or some people will say like, oh, I've always worn this. Be like, well, you're not wearing it anymore. You're going to take it off. Or you're not going to play. If you, in the middle of a game, if you see somebody that you missed with a rubber band or something on their wrist, and they don't take it off after you've asked them repeated times, just bring the captain over and be like, look, I'm going to stop this game. You guys aren't going to play until your player takes his bracelet off. So nobody plays until that person takes their bracelet off. Usually it doesn't get that serious. They'll take it off after the first time. Communication is really big. It's only 2 of you out there. And I know for me, this was my first sport that I officiated, and I was like this really shy kid that didn't want to ask my partner's name. So it was always really awkward when I'm looking over like, can you, and I don't know their name. So make sure you try to introduce yourself. A lot of times you'll start working with the same people. It's a pretty big group, so that might not happen as much, but a lot of you are already familiar with each other. So just try to make sure that you know who you're working with. Eventually, if you do get paired up with this person a bunch, you guys might develop some kind of chemistry where you know where the other person's going to be all the time, or you know what kind of calls they're going to make most of the time. So just make sure you know who your partner is so that you can talk to them in the game, because things are happening really fast out there. You're trying to dodge a soccer ball that's flying around and bumping into walls. You don't want to be trying to think about your partner's name. You kind of want to know that already going into the game.
Also know your supervisors' names. I try to introduce myself to all the officials when they're there, but if you don't know someone, ask their name, because that's going to be helpful when a chaotic thing does happen and you need to fill out a report. You don't have to be like, hey, supervisor, come help us. Like, you can be like, hey, Alyssa, we need to eject them, please help. So it's another thing to know. I had something else, but I forgot it. So. Shirts with sleeves. We try to catch that. They sneak in and wear tank tops or no shirt at all. So if you see that, stop the game and fix it. Help us out. Yeah. But that's it.
That's cool.
Yes, Greek teams do have their own jerseys most of the time. They don't need a shirt with sleeves if they're wearing their own jersey. But if they're using ours, they need shirts with sleeves. Needs to cover their shoulder and armpit area, sanitation reasons, but they like to be sneaky.
And sometimes you'll see Greek teams, not all the players have a jersey, and sometimes you'll see like Pike, some of their players will wear the garnet jerseys, and then the other ones that don't have a jersey, they'll wear our red ones. Just make sure that's okay with the other team, and that's okay with you guys as well. As long as you can distinguish the difference and the other team can distinguish the difference, then you're good. About the quiet word stuff, we're gonna kind of get to more of that eventually. with how to deal out cards and stuff. Just, you know, don't get right in the player's face basically and give the card out. You have a good distance between you, give out the card, but make sure you don't just like go up there and be like, oh, yellow card, and then just walk away. Make sure you present the card, everybody has to see, and then whoever's in the score box, they also have to know so that they can write it down on the score sheet so that these guys know what happened the previous night.
I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions on pregame things or things that may happen during the game that you need to handle regarding like rules and stuff like that? Nope. Cool. It's not our turn anymore.
That's right.